Hey guys, Julian here, and today I am going to be showing you the much requested how to make deep house like Cody Currie and Fouk. As usual, you get the project file and samples, MIDI and presets. All that stuff in this video is available right at the top of the description on my Bandcamp for just $5. And if you're patient on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And yeah, let's dive in. This is the loop you heard in the intro. We're at 120 BPM. The first sound that we have here is the pad, which sounds like this. So here's the MIDI for this. What's happening here is we're in the key of F sharp minor, and then this is playing an F sharp minor 9 chord. So you can see we have F sharp minor here because we have F sharp, A, and then C sharp. So that's just basic minor chord formula, root note, minor third, and then the fifth. And then we add a minor seventh on top of that, as well as a ninth. And the ninth is actually not as complicated as it sounds. It's literally just one note down from the third, as you can see, but then it's just an octave up. And yeah, and then when you add those on top, you get a more jazzy, sort of like deep house style sound, you know? Like if we just use a regular minor chord, it feels too sad, but when you add these, you can really hear that. And then what I added here is just this extra C sharp, so that's just doubling up the fifth an octave up. Just to kind of mix it up that second time that you hear it. And then for the sound with this one, what it is it's analog. You can see we've got two sine waves going into a low pass filter, and then the envelope is what's making it like open up like this. You can see we just have that set. I've got the attack. And yeah, pretty simple there. We've got the amp envelope set like this, and then the last thing here is we just have a little bit of vibrato, a little bit of unison, and then that's it for inside of the synth. From there, we have a bit of a phaser. Here's without this. And then with it, you can hear it's just adding that sort of like kind of movement to the sound, you know. This just makes it so it's not just like a boring flat saw wave, but it's got something a little bit more interesting on top of it. After that, we have a bit of chorus to spread the sound out a bit of reverb to give it some space, a little bit of saturation to fatten it up, and then finally I just have this auto pan here, which is making it sound like it's kind of bouncing up in volume like that, as if it was sidechained to the kick. And yeah, that is it for the pad. After that, we have the string, which sounds like this. And the way this is made is by using the string sample. And what I've done is I brought it into Ableton's granulator here. So this is the granular synth. What this is basically, as you know, like a sampler or simpler in Ableton's case is what it's called. But a standard sampler would just play a sample back from left to right. What this is doing, as you can see, it's bouncing all around the sample with that little line there. And it creates this endless sort of sound. Because this way, it's not just like, you know, playing through and then stopping, or even playing through and then you hear like a click when it comes back. This way you get this perfect, smooth loop like this. So yeah, we just got that, and then it's just going through an auto pan to give it that quarter note pulse. And then I have this high pass filter, and this is actually pretty important. Here's without it. And then with it, this track is very busy, as you can hear. So having something like this, you really need to make sure that it's like only in that one specific range where you want it to be. So by high passing it, you know, it's really cleaning it up and fitting it into the track. And yeah, that is it for the string. After that, we have the Rhodes, which sounds like this. So here's the MIDI for this one. This is the same chord I showed you actually at the beginning. You can see there's that F sharp minor 9, and then we just have a few F sharp minor 7s here as well, which is the same chord just minus the top note. And the thing with this one is like really just the way that it fits in with the groove and the drums and everything else. You know, it's important to not just like think about the chords, but really think about how this fits into everything. And I definitely recommend playing something like this in live with a MIDI controller, because it's going to make it kind of fit into your track a little bit more. For the sound on this one, you can see I have this little Ableton rack here. It's just like an E-piano Rhodes sort of sound. And then I have that going through a little bit of saturation and a little bit of a high-pass filter. You know, really simple sound, but it just adds a lot of groove. After that, we have these vocals, which sound like this. So the way I made these is basically by taking these two different vowel sounds. That ah, and then the O, so it goes like, and then over here it's the same exact ones. I just pitched them both down -7 there, so still fits with the chord progression and everything. But it's just kind of adding something a little bit different, so this way it's not the exact same thing the second time that you hear it. And then as far as effects go on this one, it's really simple. Just gave it a bunch of reverb. This has a pretty long reverb. I wanted this to sort of ring out over top of everything like that. And then I've also just got a high-pass filter, and that is it for the vocals. After that, we have this brass stab, which sounds like this. So what this is it's this brass stab sample. And then I've just brought it in here. That's just hitting right on the 1 of bar 3, if that makes any sense, and then bar 7. You know, it's kind of like the transition between these two parts here. We have like this half. There's that part, and then there's this half. We have like a long held out synth and then a more rhythmic one. And this I feel like is the thing that says like, okay, you know, this is the new part. So this is just this nice brass stab that's in key with the track. I've got it going through a little bit of reverb and then a bit of saturation to make it a bit stronger. And that also helps to bring out the reverb. And yeah, that's it for the brass stab. After that we have the kick, which sounds like this. So with the kick, you can see it's just this simple, really fat, thumpy kick. This is the type of kick you want with this style, you know. Not too clicky, not too, like, you know, EDM, I guess you would say. But just like a very fat and thick thump like this. So that's what I've got. It's going through a bit of drum bus to fatten it up. And then the other thing here are like these extra little ghost notes, like these little like those kinds of things. So I noticed this in a lot of these types of tracks, you know, it just kind of brings the kick to life and makes it so that it's not just like, you know, playing the same dun 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 every time, but it kind of mixes it up and makes it feel a bit more alive. And yeah, and then the next layer we've got here is the bass, which sounds like this. So this is a really simple bass line. You can see it's mostly just journeying around this F sharp here. And then we have it kind of bouncing up here and there to this B. And then it goes up at the end to A, just as like that last note. So pretty simple stuff, just F sharp minor scale, like I said. Yeah, and then for the sound with this one, you can see it's this FM bass that we have here. So what this is we have these 4 different waves you can see. It's mostly just sine waves, and then we have the saw 4 here as well to give it a little bit more texture. We've got the chorus pitches set like that, a little bit of detuning there, and then you can see I've got this going through the multi-mode filter. So what's happening here is we actually have this morphing, but I'm just using the low pass. And yeah, that just kind of like dials it back. I was going for more of like a live bass type of sound, so without this you can hear it's not really, you know, it sounds a little bit more digital, but when you add this, it dials it back a bit. And then we also have this a little bit on this LFO here, a little bit on the pitches of the first 3 oscillators. You can hear it's not really doing a whole lot. It's just kind of like giving it a little bit more movement, kind of making it feel a little bit more live. And yeah, then we have a bit of drum bus to fatten the sound up. Pretty simple. A bit of EQ, cutting at 100 hertz to make a little bit of room for the kick, and then also boosting the low end, and then an auto pan to make it sound like it's being a sidechain to the kick. And then I have the kick and bass in a group together. We just have a little bit of saturation on there. You really don't need a whole lot if you already have really strong sounds. Like these on their own are already a very fat kick and a very fat bass. But you do want something just to kind of tie them together a little. So that's what we have. We have the saturator. Here's without it. And then with it, so you can hear, like, it just gives that extra bit of oomph. And yeah, just got to drive up a little. And yeah, that is it for the lows. After that, we have the clap, which sounds like this. So what this is it's just a layered clap. We just have two claps. This one. And then this one. And then we have those in a group together with a bit of drum bus, just kind of gluing them together and making them hit a bit more, and then a high pass filter as well. And then the other thing to notice here is the track delay. You can see I've got the track delay on for these, and they're being pushed back a little. So if I play these with the kick, here I was kind of like boom, boom, like that clap hits a little bit before the kick. That's what this is, and this is important because you can hear if these are just hitting right on the beat. You hear how when we put it back to being a little bit before, you kind of hear the punch from the clap a bit more. So this is something that I've noticed with the style is that the clap should never be like right perfectly on the beat. You should always kind of push it back a little bit like this. Because it just gives it a more like a more interesting groove overall in the track. Cool, and yeah, that's it for the clap. After that, we have the hi-hats. So the hi-hats are three different layers. We have this one hi-hat, which is playing on the upbeats here. We have this little percussion loop, which you can see is being high-passed a little. And then we have the shaker here. And yeah, so the thing with this style is, like, you're really not going to get the sound if you just try to get, like, some tambourine samples or, like, you know, a few, like, really rigid sounding drum machine percussions and put them in. You really need something live and organic like these loops. And so that's the idea. It's like, you know, it's the best. The idea is to combine programmed elements really well with live stuff. And then we get the best of both worlds instead of just using program stuff or just using loops. And then on the group of all those hi-hats, I have a bit of drum bus and some EQ. So here's without these. And then with them. So you can hear why we do this. It really gives it that like extra bit of power to fit into the track. So yeah, the drum bus isn't going too hard, but it does really glue everything. And then the EQ8 cuts out the low end, which is important. It cleans it up. And then also boosts the high end to kind of make that a bit stronger. And yeah, and then the last layer that we have down here is just this room noise, which sounds like this. So what this is it's a recording of an office. There's just like some people talking and recorded it, and then what you do is you just kind of put this in the background. We've got a high pass, and it adds a lot of texture to the track. Here's the track without it. And then with it. You hear how, like, it's really subtle, but without it, it just feels very, like, rigid and programmed. But then when you add this in, you have these, like, kind of random background sounds happening, and it really brings it to life. And makes the track feel a lot more organic. So I definitely recommend doing something like this. When I broke down both Fouk and Cody Currie's tracks, I was hearing a lot of this kind of stuff in the background. You know, again, you can't deny what that adds to the background and how it just adds a lot of texture and color and character that you really can't get any other way. And yeah, that is it for the following noise, and that is also going to be it for this video, guys. So, I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project file and samples and MIDI and presets. All of that stuff from this video is available in the description, and if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there, because it's already available. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.